Welcome to Undercomplicating Stuff, where we, two psychologists and coaches with a combined 40 years of experience, share our insights to help undercomplicate important topics. Friendly reminder as we get started that these videos are meant to be conversational and for entertainment purposes only. If you are looking for resources, we have some in the description of this video below. So, doing introductions, Dr. Gedeon, do you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Yes, Julie. So I'm Stacey Gedeon. I'm a health psychologist and a speaker and the founder of a healthcare consulting and professional coaching business. And how about you, Dr. Radico?
So Julie Radico, I am a psychologist, a coach, author, and a speaker. And I'm super excited about our topic today because it's one that I think everybody deals with in many different levels. So jumping right in, our question today is, what do I do with my feelings of regret? Like, whew, what do you think, Stacey? Like, where would you even start with that?
I think sometimes it's helpful just to make sure we're all talking about the same thing.
Hmm.
So, maybe it's when we're comparing what actually happened to what we wished would happen or what could have happened if we acted differently. Or another way is like, okay, can I have a do-over? Can I rewind that? Um, and so I think, like you said, there are lots of experiences of regret throughout life, and I think we have little ones. So I've been guilty. I hit reply all on an email when I did not mean to. Um,
Yes.
I could take that back and have a do-over. Uh, and then also like really big ones, relationships,
Hmm.
careers. And I know a lot of people come to us for help with that. And I'm wondering what are some common situations that you see?
Yeah. I resonate with the replying all. Like, who hasn't done that, right? And then being on the receiving side of like, stop replying all to people. But yeah, that I think it's such a great distinction of that difference between, the instant regret and how do you handle that. I went into a Zoom call and didn't mute myself, and people heard me talking to my cat,
Right.
saying like, hi, like to my cat or something. That versus, did I pick the wrong career? Have I spent the last 10 years working on something, going into student debt around something that I don't know if I want to do? And just the difference in the weight of those. They're both regret, but they're on this like continuum of, annoying and sucks, but
Right.
easy, hopefully, to repair versus like, what do you do with that? Yeah, uh, we never come up with all the exhaustive examples in our
Right.
brief conversations, but the one that comes to mind is working with, professional women who will sometimes talk about, I'm now doing work or in my training, I'm asked to do things that don't align with my values, or I
Mm,
didn't realize that the job was going to be 60% paperwork or clicking boxes and not being able to see my patients or work one-on-one
right.
or do what really helps me feel passionate about this, and working with them through, well, what is that? Where does that leave you? Like with those feelings of regret, are you at a crossroads? Are you trying to figure out how to make it so you feel more fulfilled? Like just meeting them where they're at in that regret, and being really mindful for it not to turn into shame.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And related to that, I think one thing that people struggle with when it's something big, so relationship, career, is that sunk cost fallacy, where
Mm,
it's, but I put in so much time, energy, money, uh,
yes.
and so to get out of it now just feels like I'm already again sunk too much cost into it, and
Yep.
that can be a barrier to people making significant transitions, and is a reason why a lot of people come to see people like you and me is to sort out, okay, based on my values now, how do I want to proceed? It's not that you are until the end of time on this path and can't change it. And so I think it's important for people to know that that could be playing a role. in maybe why they stay in something that either isn't
Mhm.
fulfilling, isn't what they thought, is exhausting. They're feeling burnout. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, so those are some things that come up for me
Yeah.
with clients. And I know you and I have talked about kind of some personal examples.
Mhm.
I was wondering if you wanted to share something.
Yeah. I love the bringing up the fantastic point, Stacey, of the sunken cost fallacy that we get into our heads of like, I've spent so much time, energy, money, and I can't turn back. And that's not true. And also to build on that, like this idea of if I do turn back, it means all of the progress I've made, all of what I've learned, everything is wasted. Like
Yes.
it's none of it is useful. And it's like, wait, you gained so much knowledge, so many skills, so much like you've done so much development and growth. That is all out the window. I, recognizing that that's an unhelpful mind
Yeah.
frame that we get ourselves into.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is transferable. Some is not. It's a fair
Yep.
argument, but like a lot of that is transferable. And then, yeah, so not to avoid your question of what are some examples of regrets. We've shared some already of like the small
Right.
ones. I definitely have left myself off of mute in a meeting and lovingly other people have muted me. Like it's happened where I come back and I'm like, oh no, I saw me. And they're like, we heard you talk to your cat. And then otherwise, I mean, there are big regrets. I will share one that like it comes from this place of oftentimes regret can come from us not knowing what we don't know.
Mm.
And so college, a lot of years ago now, but college, I went in with some AP credits. Like I got AP credits for psychology, I got AP credits for government. I thought that there was like a specific government course that I would get to not have to take. Turns out, and I learned this after the fact and had some regrets about it, that the poli sci class that I took Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 a.m.
Ugh.
for a whole semester, turns out when I met with like the dean who was reviewing my credits to make sure I could graduate, a year later, they were like, I see that you have AP government credits and you also took poli sci. You have to drop one of those. And I went, what? Stacey, what? What are you talking about? Instant regret for something I had sunk a lot of time, money,
Mm.
effort into. And so in that moment, I had a lot of feelings and I did. I had to drop one, right? There was no, can you make it up and change it to something? It is what it is.
Right.
And coming to terms with that, letting myself feel the sadness, the frustration, the regret about it.
Yep.
And purposely though, not going into a shame spiral,
Yeah.
like being like, yep, that was dumb. What can I learn from this? How can I move along? And like, I'm sharing it with hundreds, thousands of people. Like it's not indicative of who I am as a person that I made that mistake and that I had that regret at one time because it was a valid regret, right?
Right.
I'm curious now that I've shared. Join me in the regret
I
pool.
I can absolutely join you in that pool. Um, Probably the more significant one, I do have a similar sort of college course that I jumped into that I
Mm,
thought would be really cool, cosmology. Turns out there's a lot of math, which is not my
mm,
strong suit. So
mm,
that was small. But more recently, there was a time when lots of stuff going on. My emotional intelligence wasn't at its highest.
mm,
And I was in a meeting, lots of frustration around the time of COVID. And I may have been a little snarky in a comment
mm,
that was unwarranted and uncalled for. And
mm.
afterwards, I thought, oh my gosh, I feel terrible. That's not how I want to present. And
Oh,
um, so thought about it and said, okay, well, I can repair this. And at the next meeting, brought it up, said there was some context, not that I'm excusing it,
mm,
but I want to apologize for saying X, Y, and Z in the way that I did.
mm,
And do you know what the person to whom I said this to said?
mm.
Well, I don't remember that.
Love it.
So again, others forgive us more than we forgive ourselves, or more easily, I should say.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, it was kind of interesting that, to your point, yes, we all have these instances, so it's not something unique.
Mhm.
And most people will show us a lot of grace for it.
Yeah, yeah. And that grace, that the compassion idea that we tend to not be kind to ourselves
Yeah.
in the ways that other people are kind to us and would give us grace, and we all deserve that kindness and grace because we are all human. We are all going to make mistakes and have regrets. And hopefully they're, small things like you're unmuted in a meeting or, but they can be bigger things. We are beautifully imperfect
Mhm.
human beings. And if we sink into the shame spiral of a regret of I now am not worthwhile or I've wasted so much time, I'll never recover. Like those moments are the huge moments for us to be kind to ourselves and just have some compassion. Like and if people are really curious about this, Dr. Kristen Neff, she talks about self-compassion and like she shares some of her personal journey where she's made mistakes and how she doesn't ignore them, doesn't diminish them. Just like you're saying, Stacey, you went in and wanted to apologize and you did apologize and you owned it. It wasn't a I'm blaming it on you. You own my regret. No, it was okay. I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna own it. This is what I did, and I'm gonna grow from it. I'm gonna be kind to
Yes.
myself around it. Because otherwise, we're just like miserable in all the levels.
Right.
Like,
So being aware of it, I think, always step one, acknowledging what you did and not beating yourself up for it to
mm,
the point that, you can't kind of move forward, but again, using it as a growth opportunity. I had a it's reminded me, I had a supervisor once who called these situations and other situations
mm.
AFGEs, AFGE.
Oh,
So another bleep-in growth experience.
ah.
So like embrace the suck and learn
Ah,
from it and do better
yeah.
next time. That's really all we can expect of ourselves.
Yeah. And if we get stuck in that regret, it really is hard to normalize the fact that, yeah, these are, and I love like expect that things that you're going to regret are going to keep happening to you. Like normalize that it's just another
Yeah.
thing that we can have lots of regrets all the time of like, oh man, I shouldn't have ate that thing. I don't feel as good as I thought I was gonna. Like, and then they can be small on that continuum to large, and it's how much we cling to and think that holding on to that regret is serving us in some way when it's really not.
Yeah.
So like my key takeaway that I hope people carry with them from today is you don't have to stick to a path just because you've invested money or time or energy to
Right.
it. You've learned new things, you can carry those things with you, and you can evolve and change. What would you want people to take with them?
I would really like to add on to that because I think that is so important and so challenging.
Mm,
And sometimes it's a useful exercise just to, okay, imagine yourself a year, 5 years, 10 years from now. What will you wish you would have done at this point? Um,
mm,
so again, kind of bringing that awareness, is this the path I want to be on? And if not, almost always we've learned something, we bring something, we've
mm.
grown. And so it isn't a waste. There may be some grief with switching and doing things differently, but hardly ever just a waste of time or money or energy.
Yeah, make space for that grief. But that's not the be all end all.
Right.
Yeah, so if this topic resonated with you all as you were listening today, please share it with someone that you care about. Also, please comment, like, subscribe. You can message us on YouTube or our LinkedIn to suggest questions you'd like us to discuss in future episodes.